Get ready to listen to an incredible story about a young man who was sidelined a couple of years ago in a horrific sprint car accident at Cottage Grove Speedway, and he came back to racing last Saturday night at Southern Oregon Speedway with the Wingless Sprint Series. We're going to be talking to Brody Sim, not only about his comeback, but some other problems that he's had to overcome throughout the years, but his never-give-up attitude that is inspirational to so many people on and off the racetrack. That's coming up next on Getting Up to Speed after these messages.
Dave's Home Supply specializes in cabinets, flooring, and countertops. Visit their website at daveshomesupply.com to look at products, services, financing, and even a free estimate.
Are you looking for bookkeeping, payroll, or income tax services? Then check out the folks at For You Simple Bookkeeping. They are a licensed tax preparer throughout the entire United States. For more information, click on the link in the description. This broadcast is brought to you by Meat Freaks Jerky Club. Get the best jerky the world has to offer straight to your door by visiting meatfreaksjerkyclub.com. Pick your box and plan, tell them where to ship, and receive and enjoy. Log on to meatfreaksjerky.com and use promo code SPEED. If there's a definition of a fighter, it would be this guy under that description, and that is Brody Sim. Brody, joining us here for what no doubt is going to be a special interview, and your story, I think, is going to be getting out to a lot of folks that perhaps hadn't heard it before.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to talk to you. Thank you for having me on here.
Well, the surprise of last weekend was the two-day show with the Wingless Sprint Series at Southern Oregon Speedway. Made a rare cameo in your first time in a sprint car in well over 2 years. Yeah, no, we actually just ended up running Saturday. The Wolf family, Victoria Wolf, usually drives the car. She ran Friday night, and then Saturday she woke up with a migraine headache. So we were kind of just there, right place, right time. And I don't ever go to a racetrack without my gear bag. So she just asked me, said, would you want to be, would you be interested in driving the car for me tonight? I'm really not feeling too well. And so I said, yeah, sure, So I would never pass down an opportunity. And her dad, Chris Wolf, made sure and talked with my dad because they didn't want to upset, my family. The sprint cars are kind of a touchy subject now, but sure.
Everybody was cool with everything, and yeah, we were able to strap back in.
Well, and for some people, it'd be like no big deal. Like people jump into cars all the time, but in your instance, it was May 2021. You guys were running pretty solid with the limited sprints at Cottage Grove, and then during qualifying, got in a really nasty accident. And so for the last basically 2.5 years, have not been inside of a race car since.
Yeah, we were doing pretty good. It kind of sucks. It was actually a heat race. We were checking out in our heat race pretty good out at Cottage Grove, and it really sucks because I feel like we were just like really starting to get the hang of everything. Our program was getting dialed in. Everybody was getting comfortable. And then, we hit a rut. And for those of you that are familiar with Cottage Grove, there's not really an outside wall, at least for a good bit. So coming out of turn 4, we hit a rut, kind of shot the car. We jumped off the track. And then by the time we hit the ground, I spun it sideways and just backed into the wall, pretty much full throttle. I was just ripping the fence, on the high side there during the heat race. I was leading it. So for those that know, you're kind of driving scared whenever you're leading the race, trying to run as hard as you can because you don't know who's behind you or how close they are. So I was running as hard as I can and just hit a rut and jumped off the track. But yeah, it was a pretty good wreck.
Well, and it sidelined you from doing like the normal dailies for a really long time.
Yeah, no, that was, I've been in some good wrecks. I broke my arm before, some pretty decent ones, but nothing like that. My brain was bleeding and swelling. I broke my hip. I broke a vertebrae in my back. It knocked me out pretty good. I think I was actually like knocked out for 28 hours. Woke up in the ICU. I was in the ICU for like a week. It wasn't a good deal. I don't remember a whole lot about any of it at all. I don't remember the whole day. Really, the whole summer after that, I don't got a whole lot of memory of, to be honest with you. But
sure,
yeah.
And it was a recovery process just to get you back to doing normal things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I had to go to pretty much every therapy you can think of, and try and recuperate everything. And luckily enough, I've been able to, and I live a good life now, and I'm back 100% where I was. So I got very lucky, and I'm blessed, to be in the position that I am, because we all know, sprint car racing is pretty dangerous. Every racing is dangerous, but sprint cars are pretty gnarly, and unfortunately I kind of got to look in on that.
Yeah. And as far, you don't have any follow-ups or anything to currently right now, you're kind of just quote unquote fully released?
Yeah. No, I've been 100%, pretty good to go. I did pretty much every therapy. Luckily, I have great parents and great family and great supporters that helped me, and pretty much everything I could possibly do to get better, I've done, and I did. And I think that was huge. And without the support and the people and my family doing that, there's no way I would probably be anywhere where I'm at today, probably.
But you didn't step away from racing. I mean, the racing community definitely wrapped its caring arms around you, and then when you were able to, you returned. You came in the role as a car owner for your cage kart, and saw you throughout the summer as well, just hanging out in the pits.
Yeah. No, I've been at the racetrack every day, every week. Every weekend for the past 13 years now. So there's no way that I could ever just drop racing. That, as much as I wouldn't want to say it at sometimes, and racing is my life. That's kind of all I've ever known, whether it's driving or being there. But yeah, no. So I think it was 2 winters ago, I started doing a go-kart program, because I had go-karts. That's what I grew up doing, and just kind of helping people out. Maybe people that weren't as fortunate or didn't have the opportunity to drive a car. I would throw them in my go-kart, and it was just a fun thing to do. I had a go-kart, and I love wrenching on cars. That's kind of my favorite part about the whole thing. And so yeah, I ran a little go-kart team for the last 2 winters ago, and then last winter I did it for a good bit too.
Yeah, and is that something that's going to continue, or is that sort of came to an end?
I don't know. As far as racing, I really don't know what's next at all. And all I know is I love it. I love racing more than anything, and I'll be involved in it as much as I can, for as long as I can. But I have my go-kart still, but now that I'm back in the seat, I just kind of gotta, lay out my cards and see how everything is, and then go from there. But I really don't know at all what my plan is as far as the go-kart side of things.
Sure. And was there any point in time you're on your road to recovery, and then you're feeling better? The doctors say, hey, you're good as you're going to get. You're pretty much back to 100%. And here you are, you're going to these races and you're working on cars. Was there any point in time of anger, frustration, any sort of the feelings of that nature, not being able to drive?
Oh yeah. No, that's pretty much all it was for a really long time. I was kind of pissed off at the world for a little while there, just all kind of saying why me sort of thing, which sounds really bad, but I don't know. Yeah, but that was a big thing, especially with my brain injury. It kind of messed with my emotions a little bit. So I kind of feel bad. I took a lot of it out on my family and my friends a little bit, which was, I'm very blessed to have the people around me. They stick with me, but yeah, no, that was a big thing. I kind of upset and mad and just, I want to be in the seat of a race car. That's kind of where I'm happy. It's where everything fades. So I was definitely upset for a little while that I was out of the seat.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I didn't know if I'd ever get back in the seat.
No doubt. It's very easy, and it's very easy to, unfortunately, it happens to the best of us, is that sometimes our targets are those that are close and the ones that we love, but fortunately, for the most part, they're all understanding and forgiving too, because they understand just as much of the frustrations and the pains that you're going through too.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, like I said, I'm very grateful for the people that I have around me, and I still have around me, and I'm very blessed to have everything go down the way that it did. It wasn't a good situation, but the way everything went down and the people I had on my side was couldn't be better.
Well, and for people that don't know your story, that was that was just a chapter in what has been an incredible story. You've had to overcome so much, even in your early days of driving and just being alive as a person. You've had some challenges that you've had to overcome.
Yeah, no, it's kind of been a rough road, but I think everybody has a rough road. I just think everybody has their own story, and not a lot of people tell their stories, but I think everybody does. Just how you overcome it. But yeah, no, it's been a bit of a rough road. Just medical things popping up. I had a tumor in my leg when I was 8 years old, and then got rid of that, and then ended up coming back when I was like 14, and then had to do another surgery, and then to get like plates and screws taken out, and that was a whole disaster. And then just stuff like that. And then when I was younger too, I'm an adopted child, so my birth mother, she did, like, I don't even know the details, but a bunch of drugs and stuff while I was in a baby, and that kind of played its toll on me in my earlier years, I guess, of life, which I don't know. I don't remember any of that, obviously, but
sure.
Like I said, I guess I've had a kind of rough road, but like I said, everybody has their challenges, but we just all got to wake up and kind of push through it.
Well, and like you said it earlier, you could be, pissed off at the world, mad at the world, but you choose to turn something that could, a situation where it'd be so easy to get angry at, and you turn it into a positive direction. And I got to give you props for that.
No, absolutely. I think that's my main goal, is that I'd like to leave an impact on the sport someday, or, on anything in general, before my time's up, is just leave a good impact. And that's really is a big deal to me. Is I want to leave a big impact or a good impact on something. So if I can help out in any way, or, make somebody smile at the racetrack, or help out really, at all, then I'm going to do it. That's big to me.
Well, and, going back to the tumor thing, that was I remember following your story a lot on Facebook. That was a lot of touch and go of how are you going to turn out of this deal, because the surgeries were very major surgeries, and the way the tumors were affecting your body was in a very, very negative way, preventing you doing, what was it, like walking and standing upright?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that was a pretty good one too. A pretty good recovery. But yeah, no, walking and standing, I pretty much had to relearn all of that, a couple of times actually. So, thankfully, after all these, I've gotten pretty good at learning how to walk, I guess you could say.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, we're gonna switch the tone here to some happy stuff to talk about. But racing has been in your blood, and you've been at it for a good while now. Just watching your career unfold all the way back to the days of Salem Indoor Speedway and cage karts, and then eventually, moving up into sprint cars, and even had a stint in IMCA modifieds. Yeah. No, I started racing BMX bikes when I was 5 years old, and then that was pretty short-lived, and then got into go-karts, and since then I've been able to race go-karts and street stocks and modifieds and sprint cars and a non-ring sprint car now too. I've been very fortunate. I've been involved in racing, and thankfully my dad and my mom are pretty into it too. So I just got lucky, kind of put into the right family, and sure.
I love racing a lot. That's kind of my thing. So yeah, very lucky.
Now tell me about, obviously, wing sprint cars. You'd spent a lot of time doing that, limited sprints, and then going to a non-wing sprint car. I mean, tell me about that experience, and was there any challenges thrown your way from that different type of discipline?
Well, I mean, a sprint car is a sprint car, and it doesn't help that the whole non-wing thing was kind of just a last-minute thrown together thing. I mean, I wasn't really that comfortable in the car and everything, but a sprint car is a sprint car, and there's nothing like a sprint car with or without a wing. And I definitely think that's where my heart is. I've been racing my modified this year a little bit, but it's just fun. I'm getting the hang of it, but there's nothing like a sprint car. Sprint car is really where my heart is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, as far as driving them, I think others will probably disagree, but I think with the wing sprint car, if everything's going right and your car's happy and you're happy, everything kind of unfolds for you. You kind of, you just got to sit there and, control it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But the non-wings, I think there's a lot of thinking, and it's kind of a slower pace, but there's a lot, there's a lot more driving, I guess you could say, to it. And I'm not trying to bring down winged racing at all, because they're both very, very brutal forms of racing. But yeah, no, the non-wing was cool, and I think it almost fits my driving style a little bit more than the wing does, because the wings are pretty fast and intense and just crazy all the time. But the non-wings, you can slow down. You actually got to think about what you're doing, but there's still a very fast pace of racing, I guess, if that makes sense.
Well, and what was it like adjusting to Southern Oregon Speedway? I mean, this is a track that was reconfigured in 2021, and they've had some sprint car races, not a lot, but for you, was there any issues adapting to that new configuration?
No, I've actually never even been to the big track at Southern Oregon Speedway. I won a championship there in go-karts, but I never been there previous to this last weekend. So, but racetrack's a racetrack. I'm pretty comfortable in sprint cars, so I kind of just hopped in and went out and qualified. And I really like that track a lot. I think that could be a really cool racetrack, and it is a really cool racetrack. But it really didn't take much at all. Just watch what the other guys are doing, and luckily there's a handful of pretty good, consistently fast guys, and those are easy to watch and look what they're doing and kind of copy that, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, imitate, yeah. Well, and for you, it's Saturday, you get the call up, you get all the green lights checked, and then you climb into a sprint car for the first time. What were those emotions like going through, or was it nerve-wracking at all? No,
just business as usual. I mean, like I said earlier, sprint cars are where my heart is. There's nothing like a sprint car, and it's been a long time since I've got that feeling. Sitting in staging, and then you feel the push truck start going behind you, the whole thing starts shaking, and then you flip the switch, and it's a different feeling, and it's something I've really missed, honestly. Like I love that feeling. But no, it was pretty business as usual. I try not to. If you really notice on race days, I try not to let the emotions get anywhere at all.
Sure.
I'm pretty straight to business, hop in the car and kind of do my job, and hopefully everything pans out.
Yeah. An enigma, just no emotions on your sleeve, just ready. You'd be a good wrestler or a UFC fighter. I'm just here to kick butt and chew bubble gum, and I left my bubble gum in the locker room.
That's the idea, yeah, but sometimes it doesn't always end up like that. But yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously you've had the itch to get back in a sprint car, and you got the scratch. Moving forward, is there plans with you and your family to go in that direction and run some more, or is there any talk of that at all, or is that kind of off the table? That was just sort of a one-off.
Like I said earlier, I have an IMCA modified, and that's what I've been running this year. And to be completely honest, I have no clue what the future looks like at all for my racing, whether that's sprint car, modified, or even another different car. And honestly, I really don't care. After being out of the seats for a couple of years, I'd hop in seriously any car anywhere probably, and just go drive, because it really changes your outlook on the sport when you can't do it. And I think it just brought out a whole new love for the sport. So really, anything, anywhere, any opportunity I get, I'm going to take, I guess, if that makes sense. But it's, as far as my plans, I really don't have any intentions on moving away from the modifieds, at least as of right now. Mm-hmm. But I definitely would not be opposed to driving a sprint car again. If I had the opportunity, I would not say no.
Sure. Hey, you never know who's listening, and you never know who's watching.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big believer on that. Yeah. Nice.
And then, I mean, it's so cool that you stayed involved, because, I hate to beat a dead horse, because honestly, the easiest decision for you would have been like, I'm done. Like this sport has chewed me up and spit me out, and I'm just going to go do something else. But you've decided to take, the path less trodden, the road less traveled, and you just keep bouncing back, and it's really cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, that's all I've ever known. For a while there, it would drive me crazy because I didn't even know what to do on the weekends. So that's all I've known, and probably all I'll ever do. But
Sure.
in some way, somehow, I'll be at a racetrack every weekend, probably for as long as I can think.
No doubt. Well, let's just put this out there. You're not dealing with racing. You're not working on cars, and it's not a rain out, and it's not a race day. What are some cool things that you like to do away from the racetrack?
I'm working now. I just graduated high school, so I'm working out at Crabtree Automotive. It's a local automotive shop here in town, and so that takes up most of my day. And then me and my dad are pretty into hot rods, so I got a C10 short wide pickup that I mess around on a lot of the times. It was actually my papa's, kind of passed down,
Mm-hmm.
and then my dad's got a Chevelle, and then he's got a '58 Ford pickup that we kind of twiddle our thumbs with, and then I got a 97 F250, the Power Stroke. So just vehicles, really. I put a lot of work and waste a lot of money on vehicles, but
Sure.
that's definitely my side thing.
Sure. Crabtree, that's a name I remember. What was it? Robert Venner, I think, was from their 27V that used to race cage carts.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you raced with. I mean, every now and then he'd come out and run something, but I think you were still in the box stocks or maybe a different division when he was running in the opens.
Yeah, he's definitely a little bit older than me as far as racing classes wise. But yeah, I think I recognize the name. My dad mentioned something like that before.
Sure. Well, I mean, let's just say that, there's sprint car racing on the horizon on a regular basis, or even for folks that want to follow your story. What's the best way? Is there a website or social media page where you have a schedule update or news for Brody Sim Racing?
Pretty much all I have is Brody Sim Racing on Facebook. That's kind of my main thing. I have social media, pretty much every social media, my personal stuff, and I post on there a lot. But as far as racing only posts, Brody Sim Racing will be your best bet just on Facebook.
Awesome. And I know that there's a lot of people that have helped you in your career, and obviously in this past weekend and making things possible. Any specific folks or their sponsors that you want to send a shout out to real fast before I let you go?
Oh, there's a lot. Just everybody. I wish I could remember them all, but just my family, my friends, and just everybody that's helped out in any way. Not even just with money or with racing, just words and just being a friend. Just everybody that's contributed a little bit. It really does mean the world to me, and it helps a lot.
Well, awesome. Well, we'll definitely be following your story with interest, and hopefully before too long, we'll be seeing you in a wing sprint car and racing in the Pacific Northwest strong again.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to see how the cards play out, I guess, right?
Absolutely. Well, obviously, take care of yourself, Brody, and it's been great to get this update from you, and well as shed some light on your story to some listeners or some viewers that perhaps had never heard of you before.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. I always love doing these interviews with you.
Well, that is going to do it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure and hit the like and subscribe button on whatever platform you found this interview at. It really helps us grow the channel, and we greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, we'll be back with more content and interviews in the future. Be sure and have a great evening or a great rest of your day, whatever time you're listening.